You're listening to the 181st edition of the Bitachon podcast. We're studying together the passuk in Tehillim, Samach Beis, Pasuk Tes. Bitachon b'chaleis. Trust in Hashem at all times. Am shivchu lefanu levavchem. My nation, pour out your hearts in front of God. Elokim achselanu sela. God is our protector. Avram and Ramach says, Amar la'am. Dovid Hamelech, King David says to his nation, Now that I have shown you the imperative and the mila, the advantage of hoping to Hashem, trusting in Hashem, and God saves and honors those who trust in Him, which we spoke about 2 weeks ago, previous passuk. Trust in Him at all times. Even when there's a very difficult situation that you find yourselves in, trust in Hashem. And it's important to point out there's two different places, two different extreme situations that a person finds himself in that they need to work on. We need to work on our Bitachon. The first is what he's talking about, a situation of challenge, of difficulty. It seems like Hashem has abandoned me, heaven forbid. It seems like my enemies have power over me. That's one situation that requires a strengthening of our Bitachon. But the other situation is where things are going good. Everything is smooth. We're successful. We have what we need. We're succeeding in our businesses. We're succeeding in our learning. We're succeeding in our avodas Hashem. We also over there, and as we'll see in the continuation, we also over there need to make sure that b'chol eis, at all times, we are placing our bitachon in Hashem. We are giving recognition to the fact that it's Hashem who's giving us success. But here Rabbi Avram ben Ramach is talking about the extreme where the times are difficult. Shivchu lefanu levavchem. Pour out your hearts in front of Hashem. K'leimer spalulu lefanav. Im kavanas halev. Pray in front of Hashem, pray in front of God with focus, with intent of your heart. Ki yadashi sheikabel tfilaschem. Dovid Hamelech assures us, and he had vast experience in this area. Hashem is going to answer your prayers. Hashem always protects us. Hashem always takes care of us. Look at the past. God has always done for us, has always protected us, saved us. We're here, aren't we? We're still here. So if Hashem has taken care of us until now, Dovid Hamelech assures us, our prayers will be answered now as well. Our bitachon, our faith won't go unanswered. Says the Yavitz, HaBitachon b'chol eis, be'im b'shas ha'tov, u'be'im b'shas ha'ra. The Yavitz brings this out. Trusting in Hashem is something that we have to do at all times, as the passuk says. All times. Whether it's a good time, whether it's a difficult time. Not like people, there are some people who look, when do they turn to God? They do turn to God. But only when things are difficult. When things are good, they don't necessarily appreciate that it's Hashem who's taking care of them. They wake up when the difficulties arise. The Yavitz says something interesting. So we need to obviously trust in Hashem at all times, whether things are good, whether things are challenging. When it comes to trusting in Hashem, when things are good, so the ramification of that, it affects our fulfillment of Hashem's commandments. Let's say a person, let's say not even good or bad situations, but just a regular situation. I'm on a business trip, and I have to go and I have to make sure that certain things are attended to in my business, and it might mean that I won't be able to daven with a minyan, I won't be able to daven at all, might not be able to learn. The way that I feel about my business, the way that I feel about having what I need, if I trust in Hashem, so then I don't have to think about whether I'm going to do a certain mitzvah, whether my business is going to take away from my regular fulfillment of commandments. If I trust in Hashem, so I know that I can do what I'm supposed to do, and it doesn't take away from my asiyas hamitzvos. So the Yavuz is saying there's an indicator of how much bitachon that I have. Or, put it differently, I'm allowed to I can allow myself to fulfill the commandments properly when I have that bitachon, because doing what's right is not going to take away from me getting what I need. So that's all included under the category of bitachon. Now he brings from the Sefer Ikarim. V'yiftach b'Hashem b'chol itosav. Person should trust in Hashem at all times, at all of his times. Ki beis hashalva v'ashker v'atzlacha. When a person has serenity, things are quiet, he's successful. Yakir shakol b'meitai. So then he should recognize that everything comes from Hashem. He shouldn't say, look, I'm successful here today because of my own strength. No, when things are going well, give credit where credit is due. It's Hashem who gives us power. It's Hashem who puts the idea in our heads to do a particular business deal. And the request should be made even there. When things are good, Hashem, please help me continue to have success. When things are going well, if there's money in the bank, if the bills are being paid, Hashem, please, thank you so much for helping me. Please continue to help me. I know my success comes from you. And when it's a time of challenge, so a person needs to strengthen himself and trust that Hashem is going to take him out from the difficulty to a wide place, to a place where things are no longer difficult. And then a person should ask Hashem to give him peace, to give him success, to take him out of the difficulty. That's why Dovid Hamelech, the sweet singer of the Jewish people, he said, trust in Hashem at all times. This means to say, when times are good, and when times are challenging. Pour out your hearts to Hashem and say, Hashem, you are our protector. This is so sweet. The Jewish people are praised by the Bnei Korach in this regard, in this aspect. Mizmor Mem Daled, in the 44th chapter of Tehillim, the passuk is the first passuk of the 44th chapter of Tehillim. It speaks of the fact that Hashem, with our ears we heard, our fathers heard, they told us all the things that you did for us. That's how it starts. This is coming to teach us that the general principle of that mizmor, of that chapter of Tehillim, of that song, this is to praise the Jewish people that we trust in Hashem when the days are good, on a good day, when things are going well. The Jewish people are praised. This is the midah of the Jewish people, that when things go well, we don't take credit ourselves. Be'ezrat Hashem, yachad ninatzeach. As Prime Minister Netanyahu keeps repeating in every speech, at the end of every speech, it's with Hashem's help that together we will succeed. This is something that even someone who's not religious can recognize and know, that we can only succeed, and we have only succeeded, and we will only succeed with Hashem's help. And when things get difficult, it's not a time to lose our faith. It's not a time to lose our bitachon. No, we hold on to this covenant. The indication here from this passuk is that Our forefathers told us about the things that Hashem has done for us, which means that I didn't actually see it per se. I haven't seen the salvation of Hashem yet, but I don't need to see it personally to believe that it's forthcoming, that Hashem can and will help me. I heard about it from my forefathers. I know that my parents were saved, my grandparents were saved. I know my Bubby and Zaidi and my great-grandparents, they escaped from Europe in the 30s. They left. They were Zionists. They came to Eretz Yisrael. They came to Palestine. And then, during the war, I know that my Bubby and Zaidi took a boat to America, and somehow, despite the fact that it was in the middle of the war and boats were being shot at, they got there safely. I know that my parents came to Israel. I came to Israel. My family's growing up here. I know that things have gone well for us. I know that there have been challenges and difficult times, but we've gotten through them all. Here we are. So I know that I can count on Hashem henceforth as well. That's the Sefer Yikarim. Says the Sforno. Trust in Hashem at all times, my dear nation. V'atem hamoyin am Yisrael, true to Mekivus Mammon. The Sforno says that this passuk is actually directed by King David at the Amonam, at the general populace of the Jewish people. Jewish people are involved in trying to support our families. That's a very important part of our lives. We try to support our families. We're involved in Parnasa, in making a livelihood. So Dovid Hamelech says to us, to the regular people, trust in Hashem at all times. Shibchu levavchem. Pour out your hearts. Achniu libchem b'tfila lefanu sheyatzliach. You're in the middle of something. You're in the middle of working on a project. You're in the middle of working on a business deal. My daughter, she's 10 years old. She's part of a play called the Tzir Chemed Show. Another daughter, 11-year-old, they're involved in the play. My daughter, who's 10, told me she's davening. She's praying that she should remember her lines. She's davening every day. The thing that's important to you, the thing that you're involved in, ask Hashem for help. Talk it out. Speak it out. The things that we talk about become real. When I work on this, when I read to you guys from Bitachon, when you listen to it and you talk about it and share it with your friends, with your family members, when we talk about it, it becomes real. It becomes real. When we daven for Hashem to help us, we have a consciousness. And Hashem answers our prayers. Really, where does our success come from? Remind ourselves, say it over and over again. Ask Hashem for help. Ask Hashem for success. Bless upon us, Hashem, our God, this year in all of its types of grain. It's not just talking about grains, it's talking about our parnasa, our livelihood. Hashem, bless us. And blessings means that we see that you're here, you're in our lives. Mevarech Hashem, you bless the years. You show up. You show that it's you. That there's a spiritual component to what's going on in our lives. The success is your success, Hashem. There's no one else to depend on. There's no one to protect us besides for Hashem. Here's another word from the Yavitz. When King David says, pour out your hearts in front of him. Pour out your hearts in front of Hashem. Kilshoin. So it's like the passuk, beginning of Shmuel. I believe that it's. I'm not sure what it's speaking about. I don't want to misquote it, but it's speaking about. Someone said, "I poured out my heart in front of Hashem. I poured out my soul in front of Hashem." It's the same idea. It's an aspect of prayer, but it's also a full prayer. It's a real prayer. I really mean it. I'm sincere in my prayer. If you do this, if you pray with a full heart, if you pray sincerely, you can be assured that you're going to have hashgacha pratis, you're going to have divine providence, but openly. Every person has, Hashem is directly involved in every individual's life, but we want to see it. We want to experience it. Amar karev Hashem, l'chol karav, l'chol asher yikru'u, mitchila be'emes. Hashem is close to all those who call out to Him. But it's to all those who originally were calling out with truth, with realness, sincerity. We're real. Our prayers are real prayers. Our prayers are said with our hearts. They're sincere. They're not just lip service. Ka'imram. Oikir la'asya delay tistarichle. Yalgit Shimoni says, and I think I hope I'm understanding this correctly, but he says, I'll make the doctor so unusual. It will be so unusual to have to go to a doctor to the point where it won't happen at all. You won't end up needing a doctor. Interestingly, he points out, the Evitz points out that the way that we daven, the order of the prayer, the way that Dovid Hamelech is instructing us, he says, pray at all times, pour out your hearts, and say, God, you're my protector. Why do we talk that way? What's the idea behind it? It's similar to what we find in the Psukim in Dvarim, chapter 9, verse 29. There, when Moshe Rabbeinu was davening for Am Yisrael, he says, they are your nation, they're your inheritance. Slachna la'avoin, the passuk says in Bamidbar, you've protected them until now. You've taken care of them until now. They're your nation. Yaakov Avinu said, he says, he talks about the past. He says, Hashem, you protected me. I came over. He talks about the kindness that Hashem has already done for him. I crossed over this Jordan River with nothing. And here I come, and I have an incredible encampment. I have a whole family, 12 sons, so much livestock, so much wealth. I started with nothing. Hashem, you gave me everything. Protect me now. Hashem, Dovid Hamelech is saying the same idea. He's saying, trust in Hashem, pour out your hearts, and say that Hashem is your protector, meaning recognize, remember, mention to Hashem in your prayer, Hashem, you helped me in this thing. Hashem, you helped me in that thing. Hashem, you gave me parnasa every single day of my life until today. Hashem, help me again with parnasa. Hashem, you helped me raise my family. You helped me have success. Help me again. You gave me a successful song. Give me another successful song. Let the good continue. It's very beautiful because, in essence, what we're saying is that part of Bitachon and part of prayer, an important part of prayer is recognizing the good that's been done for me. And number one, it makes, as it were, Hashem want to give more good to me when I show my appreciation for what He's done. But I think that it also gives me more of an ability to trust. Because, hey, when there's a difficulty in front of me, it feels very overwhelming. How am I supposed to get through this? How am I going to succeed in this area? How can I do this again? How can I go through this challenge again? But if I remind myself, hey, I got through this before. Hashem stood by my side before. He helped me before. He's going to help me again. I can strengthen my bitachon in that way. It helps me believe it. It helps me know it. It helps me feel it. So it's an incredible approach in Bitachon. It's an incredible approach in prayer. Hashem, you helped me before. Please, Hashem, help me again. Thank you so much for listening. See you again next time.